Chapter 6, Morocco. It's early morning dawn. I'm waking up in my sleeping bag on a bluff overlooking the great mythic Rock of Gibraltar. What a fabulous wandering adventure I'm on. The Formentera Five have split. Keith and Dan went off in different directions. I'm here as a trio with my two Swiss-German friends, Hans and Oliver. We've decided to continue our journey together onward to Morocco. Hans found a deal for us yesterday, much cheaper than the charter boats nearby. We will be departing from Algeciras, Spain, on the European continent to the small Spanish enclave of Ceuta on the North African coast. "Hey guys, when does the boat leave?" I inquire. Hans and Oliver, just waking at sunrise, quietly gaze out at the iconic monument silhouette of the rock. "The guy I talked to when we first arrived at Algeciras said to be there at 8:30 a.m., says Hans, yawning as he finishes speaking. "Well, that's barely 2 hours from now," says Oliver, looking at his wristwatch. "We need to get up and get moving. We have a lot of ground to cover, and the clock is ticking." The three of us quickly pack up our gear in our backpacks. The Epi Trail is about to lead us in a new direction. We walk a few miles into the town of Algeciras, where Hans locates the boat captain he spoke with yesterday and strikes a quick deal for us. We are soon boarding a small boat and sailing across the straits. Our boat lands ashore in Ceuta some 15 to 20 minutes later. We get off the boat and the captain sails away immediately. Feels so covert. Now what to do? We didn't come all this way to hang out in some Spanish bastard town on the coast of North Africa. We are surrounded by Morocco. I'm ready to get the suspense over and delve into the culture and excitement of a new way of life. We walk to the bus depot, only to discover we just missed the bus to Tetuan, the closest Moroccan city at the border. So we must walk the 4-kilometer distance to the border to enter Morocco. Along the way, we run into some American super freaks, hippies like us. They've been turned down entry into Morocco twice, they said, because they're here. Oh no, the stories are true. I will need to cut my hair. My self-identity and ego are tied to my hair. My look, this can't be. "Hey, Woodstock," says Hans, smirking. "Looks like you're going to cut your hair after all." "I've got the shears," said Oliver as he pulls a pair of clippers from a pocket in his backpack. "What about you guys?" I complain. "Give me a break and stop whining," says Hans. "I barely have long hair at all, maybe even past inspection," as he combs his fingers through his short waif. "And Oliver has that thin, stringy blonde hair he can make into a ball off his neck and over his ears that you can't even tell he's a long hair sometimes. But now you, Woodstock, if you want to go to Morocco, let's cut it and get it over with," suggests Oliver. I grab my head with both hands, rolling my fingers through my long corkscrew curls. It's been growing since early summer of 1967 when my father died and Sergeant Pepper came out. I just can't bear to lose my hair. At the end of our 4-kilometer walk, we arrive near the border to Morocco. We are temporarily wigged out from our small hike along the raging gray sea and the utter poverty of the hopeless and dispossessed Arabic community in this unusual Spanish enclave in North Africa. The poor people throw their garbage out their windows into garbage dumps at their doorsteps. Disgusting. Morocco looms large as we near our destination entry point. The border guard station is just up ahead. I valiantly stride up to the station with my hair blowing in the wind. The uniformed official motions for me to go to the next window. A plainclothes official looks at me and motions with his fingers, a scissoring sign, snipping of shears. He points at my hair and does a snipping motion with his fingers again. I get the message. My worst fears are confirmed. I will not be allowed entry into Morocco unless I cut my hair, plain and simple. I was in denial that this would actually happen to me. My outrageous head of long, red, curly ringlets must go. Oliver pulls out his scissors to do the job right there in front of the officer. The patrol guard motions for us to go back to Ceuta. We walk down the beach away from the border station. I sit cross-legged on the sand, in a yogi meditation pose, gazing out at the sea. Oliver commences to shear my locks. Snip, snip, snip. I catch pieces of my falling hair as he snips through my tresses. I'm very sad. The three of us march back to the point of entry at the border station. We wait for 10 minutes because the head official, the decision maker, is on break. When the boss returns, I proudly show him my handful of hair to impress him as to how much I cut off. He isn't impressed at all. He shakes his head at my handful of curls, indicating it's not enough. He makes the cutting sign with his fingers once again and motions for us to leave the guard station. We walk by a tourist bus full of straight Americans. The people on the bus holler derogatory comments at us as we walk by, hanging our heads looking at the ground. Hans and Oliver flip them the middle finger. I'm so out of it from my present predicament that I don't give a shit to react. Hey, hippies, fuck you. Glad they didn't let you freaks in. Fuck off. Go home and cut your hair and take a bath, you dirty hippie bastards. No hippies allowed, assholes. The unrelenting abuse hurling from the fierce faces on the tourist bus is akin to running the gauntlet. We stroll along the beach near the sea, taking this unwarranted abuse from the mainstream conservatives in our society. At home and abroad, it never ends. The times keep on changing, yes they do, but some things always remain the same. We walk back down the beach, and I take a seat in the sand. Oliver clips his shears a few times in anticipation of the cutting to come. Sorry, man. I've really got to cut your hair this time all over, says Oliver. It will grow back again, interjects Hans. It's not like you're losing a limb or organ. It's just hair. I don't respond to either of them as I gaze off in the distance, looking to the horizon on the sea. Their voices arriving at me as if through an echo chamber. I'm in a self-induced trance. My hair has been all the rage throughout my trip through Europe. It caused me to instantly stand out from all others. My hair announced my unique presence without my needing to say a word. The like-minded, peace-loving hippies are drawn to me, male and female alike. I've met so many people and made friends easily because of my head of hair. It was always a potential discussion subject upon first meeting anyone. Now I must depend more on my personality and character instead of hiding behind the facade of my outlandish hair. Woodstock, hey Woodstock, here I go, man. Oliver clutches a thick bundle of hair from the back of my head. The shears clip and pull through my tresses. Huge clumps of curls fall around me on the sandy beach. I'm losing my hair. I've had so much vested in my hair as a major part of my ego and pride. My hair always announced me everywhere I go, and before I'd arrive, from a distance, people in society could gather from my look and demeanor that I'm a radical hippie. My hair did that for me, and I enjoyed the notoriety that came with it. My hair made me a walking one-person counterculture movement onto myself, I say. You are still you, man, says Oliver, stopping and snipping his progress away. Your hair doesn't define you. It get that being a long hair is cool, but so is not being a long hair man. Yeah, man, I know, but you must admit that a head of hair like mine becomes part of your personality. I grew into the look and the feeling, for good and for ill, that this head of hair has aroused. From the women I've met who want to touch it and fondle it through their fingers, to the idiots who threaten to kick my ass because of it. All that vested pride and selfish ego trip wrapped up in your head of hair is gone now, man, says Hans. Are you still you, Woodstock? Oliver resumes shearing more of my locks till no hair touches my shoulder or covers my ears. Feel like I have a new head. I'm dazed and confused going through this personal trauma. Oliver finishes the last snip. I think you should pass through inspection with no problems now, says Oliver. Oh yeah, interjects Hans. I brush my hands through my curly hair. I'm speechless. The three of us head back to the guard station for a third time. The tourists from the bus hurl invectives at us once again. From their open windows with their heads sticking out, a group of guys, old men, their time has passed. My generation is here now. Fuck you, hippie. Just because you cut your hair, you're still a dirty asshole. Fuck off, hippies. Go home. Hippies are unwanted here. Fuck you, long hairs. The three of us take the persistent abuse without responding to the taunting. I walk up to the guard station window and present my passport. I am now deemed fit by the authorities for entry into Morocco. We stride into Morocco, but the momentous experience of officially entering an African nation is lost upon me. I'm in hair loss shock. We head to a nearby bus that takes us into Tetuan. Each of us peer out the bus windows, taking in the environment and people of a strange and alluring culture. All the people wear long gowns. All the women have their heads covered. All the men wear simple caps. This is truly an exotic new world for me. We arrive in Tetuan and depart from the bus at the bus station. Immediately upon disembarking, we are deluged by many street hustlers. Several offer to show around town, mister, as they rub fingers together, signaling for cash, or so we take it. No, thank you. We gather our gear and move through the crowd of street hustlers who part for us to get through. After we get away from the bus depot, we discover that we still have a group of persistent leeches that keep following us and won't leave us alone. We briskly move along, but can't shake them. Please, mister, let me help you. Small fee. Hans abruptly turns around to face our pursuers and in one quick motion flips a small coin in the air. The quicker street hustler, Ali, grabs the coin in midair. It's been decided fair and square, says Hans. We will let this guy, Ali, be our Moroccan guide. Ali guide, yes? The little street hustler jumps for joy, just as his competition, slump-shouldered in defeat, walks away. We follow Ali to the third floor of a cafe. We are served delicious sweet mint green tea, the national drink of Morocco, we discover. Then Ali passes around a pipe full of hashish. It is a very powerful strain of hash. I am stoned, and my head is spinning after just 2 hits. Wow! Oliver and Hans give it a thumbs up from across the table, wearing big hyena laugh grins. I return the gesture. We are feeling fine. I get up from my seat at the table and walk over to a balcony to look onto the courtyard below. I survey this exotic world of men in robes and caps. The teeming courtyard is filled with the bustling activity of Moroccan men socializing, conversing, drinking the ever-present tea, and smoking tobacco or hashish. The place is simply bursting with the inner workings of humanity in this culture. Wow, what a trip. This is something I've never experienced in my life. Then the muezzin wailed from a tower, announcing the late afternoon call to the faithful for prayers. Allahu Akbar. The people suddenly scatter from the courtyard, heading to a nearby mosque. A few people stay behind and lay out prayer rugs. Allahu Akbar, chants the muezzin one final time. The power and vitality I experienced of Muslim culture through the Alhambra's architecture is here, alive, and even more powerful as a living force. I am amazed. I walk from the balcony to my comrades at the table in the deserted cafe. My head is spinning as I take my seat. After prayer, the cafe and courtyard fill up once again with patrons. I watch a couple of locals argue in Arabic. I don't know what they are saying, but you sure can tell there's a problem brewing. The heated exchange escalates to shouts and pushes with knuckles bared. Hey, shh! Ali motions to the three of us to follow him as he puts his index finger vertically in front of his lips. We get up from our seats and follow Ali down the stairs, away from the ensuing commotion and back out into the streets of Tetuan. Ali, the street hustler, is a short, plump guy about as wide as he is tall. He never stops talking. He must talk in his sleep. Can't understand anything he says other than the few English words he has in his limited vocabulary. Being a street hustler is a vocation for many in Morocco. Ali is the king of the street hustlers. His persistence is inhuman. He sticks to you like a tick. You always know he is near with that motor mouth voice of his, always on the go. We follow Ali into a bakery where we enjoy some great vegetable soup and some wonderful dark brown Moroccan bread. Ali then takes us through some merchant shops in the general marketplace. He acts as our guide, trying to sell us the wares. We just keep moving, oblivious of Ali's sales pitches. We continue walking through the old market with small, winding streets. I try on a wool jalaba, the hooded Moroccan gown worn by the men. I think I will buy one of these, but not today. At the end of the market road, Ali comes to the rightful conclusion that we are not interested in buying anything. We just want to get moving from this border town to Casablanca and Marrakesh. We continue to follow Ali deep into the bowels of the exotic old city. We arrive at Ali's apartment, a small room with 3 beds. The street hustler never stops trying to make a deal. In his ragged English, he repeats, "Ship hash? Ship hash home?" The 3 of us shake our heads. We are not interested in being dealers, but we have no problems with our own recreational use. Hans negotiates a deal for us with Ali, and Ali, of course, will give us quite a bargain. We split half a kilo 3 ways. Just seems like the natural thing to do at the moment. Wait a minute. Now we have to carry it around with us wherever we go. We leave Ali's apartment and head to a nearby bus station. With Ali gone, a new gang of street hustlers move in on us. They taunt and threaten us. "The cops are coming for you guys. They'll get you on the bus." We arrive at the bus station and purchase tickets straight through to Casablanca. The bus leaves in a couple hours at 10:30 p.m. We take a seat at the bus terminal, waiting to board our bus. All 3 of us are having flashes of paranoia. We didn't need to purchase so much from Ali. Now we've created a worry for ourselves, and we are not handling the burden too well. "I'm freaking, man," says Hans. "Me too, brother," retorts Oliver. "I fear the cops in this country. We don't need any trouble." "You think that street hustling Ali guy set us up?" I say. "If this is a setup, they've got us, man." No, don't say that," says Hans. "My paranoid state can't handle that thought." "We will be all right, man. Chances are everything will be okay," says Oliver. "Once we hop on that bus to Casablanca, everything will be okay." Just then the taunting street hustler walks by us 3, then turns around and looks straight into Hans's face and says, "The cops are coming. Ali is a bad man. You in trouble. Cops gonna get you on the bus." The heckler proceeds to walk away, laughing at us. I am stoned out of my mind, and this country has me totally freaked out. Shortly thereafter, the bus arrives, and we get on without incident, although we are admittedly paranoid, glancing over our shoulders, behind us, and at everyone in the near vicinity. All aboard. We can breathe easier now as the bus departs. We are off to Casablanca now. Only a few people are on the bus besides us. Hans, Oliver, and I each take an empty seat to unload our backpacks and sightsee out the window. As the bus rolls down the road, our group paranoia ceases to be a burden. We can relax and enjoy ourselves. Nobody is after us. Casablanca. We are staying in a cheap hotel in a low-down area of this huge Moroccan city. Good enough for us. Price is right. The men are smoking their keef, a cut marijuana product, in long, thin pipes with a clay bowl. Everywhere in cafes, they drink the ubiquitous mint green tea and smoke keef. The indigenous Moroccan music of fluttering flutes and pounding drums fills the air. "Hey, hippie!" is a common refrain from kids on the street. These people are so mysterious to me, as you must be to them. This is a starkly different world from any place I have ever known. The strangeness of Europe, in comparison, now feels familiar and comfortable to me versus this culture here. I will learn, adapt, grow, and evolve. I feel like I'm in some fairy tale of Arabian Nights. To simply feel the flow of this life here has become a semi-religious experience for me. I'm filled with awe and wonder, a deep curiosity to learn more, experience more, to understand others on a soul level. I am a wanderer, free to be. After a couple of days wandering around Casablanca, we decide to go to Marrakesh. We are presently sitting on a rickety train in second class as the railroad cars roll down the tracks, taking us to our next destination. Looking at the world through the sunset in your eyes, trying to make the train through clear Moroccan skies, Ducks and pigs and chickens call. Animal carpet wall to wall. American ladies 5 foot tall in blue. Sweeping cobwebs from the edges of my mind. Had to get away to see what we could find. Hope the days that lie ahead bring us back to where they've led. Listen not to what's been said to you. Would you know we're riding on the Marrakesh Express? Would you know we're riding on the Marrakesh Express? All on board that train. Take the train from Casablanca going south. I love this song, The Marrakesh Express by Crosby, Stills, and Nash. I've sung this song so many times to myself while imagining this moment. Now here I am traveling from Casablanca to Marrakesh. It doesn't get any better than this. Imagination becomes reality. Would you know we're riding on the Marrakesh Express? Would you know we're riding on the Marrakesh Express? I'm on the roof of a very strange hotel in Marrakesh, filled with an assortment of many other Western tourist types, from the hippie crowd to the well-to-do. Throw in the Moroccans that work here, and it's quite a mix of humanity. This place is called the Hotel Essaouira. It's mid-November, and I think I will stop moving and settle down here a bit. My 2 Swiss German buddies, Hans and Oliver, are still with me, although they have indicated they may be moving on to a different path. I'm content to just let things flow for me in Marrakesh. I'm grooving to the atmosphere. What a gas. I'm aiming to be as high as the Atlas Mountains in the far distance. The Hotel Essaouira is a trip, flying high. I love it out on the Moroccan rooftops. A whole new social vibe proliferates. I hear the music of Iron Butterfly, followed by Santana, off in the background from a window below. The sun is burning down on me, and I am free, free as a bird, free as the wind. Marrakesh is a beautiful city, although I've only seen a bit of it. The whole Moroccan land is a wonder of exotic proportions. The culture is so unusual and foreign to me, as well as a constant challenge to understand it. It is the Muslim holy month of Ramadan, 1 month of observance through abstinence of eating during sunlight hours. Ramadan has been with me since I have been in this Muslim country, lending a special tension and focus with celebratory eating as the sun sets. The phenomenon is spectacular to experience in the great market of Marrakesh, night after night. The poverty of the lower class of people is distressing. Beggars plant themselves on dusty roads, waiting, just waiting, perhaps for temporary relief from a compassionate tourist or more wealthy local. And these beggars are everywhere. I feel the misery of the ages here, empathy for the many people who exist in poverty in the ancient land. I pass an old woman lying on the side of the road. She's not dead yet, just lying there. I imagine the mind-blowing realities of her daily existence, anguish, despair, suffering. Moving further along on my way, I walk by a lump of humanity that suddenly springs alive, chanting or begging in a foreign tongue I do not understand. I am moved and perplexed. Does humanity not have the same value here as in Europe or the USA? At the other end of the spectrum, the beauty of this place is the utterly fantastic mystery that exudes from the land and the customs of the people. Old men chant in Arabic directly into my ears as we pass each other in the marketplace. I've learned to always be on the lookout for the next street hustler lurking around each corner. The sounds of flutes and Arabic music percolate from all directions. I find a jalaba I like in a market stall garment shop. The jalaba is the dominant gown of the Moroccan men. I try a dark brown outfit on, fitting it over my head and pulling down. It fits nice and loose. I purchase the jalaba and a leather shoulder bag. I am to fit in better in this society. Cats are common here. They roam everywhere. As I continue through the market, the sounds are a large part of the journey. In Morocco, music is ever present at all times, it seems. Flutes are blown voraciously around here. The Arabic beat of drums, blended with the chorus of flutes, creates a unique ambiance to the place. It all intermeshes and flows as one constant, ever-playing song. As I move through the streets of Marrakesh, the musicians fade off as new musicians fade in, carrying the ever-present beats. The Moroccan seeks the sound of bliss in music on a daily basis. Even with my haircut, I still hear Hippie, 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 as I walk past the children as they play in the streets everywhere I go. I am lounging on the rooftop of the Hotel Essaouira once again. This place has become a sanctuary for me here in Marrakesh. Every time I go for a long wandering walk into the intense streets below, I'm always happy to return here to escape from it all. From this vantage point, I can see the beautiful snow-covered peaks of the Grand Atlas Mountains. What a majestic setting this is. I'm a stranger in a strange land, and I love it. Hey, Woodstock, thought we'd find you out here, says Oliver. Yeah, man, we're out here, moving on, says Hans. We are taking the train back to Casa so we can catch a boat across the Atlantic. I am glad we found you to say goodbye, says Oliver, extending a hand to me for a handshake. I grasp his hand and sit up from the lounge chair. I'm going to miss palling around with you guys. We've had a lot of fun times together, some intense moments, great experiences, I say to both of them. See you around, Woodstock, says Hans. We shake hands, then he grasps me in a tight bear hug. I wish you both well in your travels. Take care, my friends, I say. And now with that, my traveling companions are on their way. Now I'm back to being truly on my own. The market here is just incredible, with its large open square, partitioned with stalls of food and sundry items. I take a wandering walk into the great Marrakesh market. As I walk around and explore, I discover an entry point to a subset of the greater market, the Berber market. You can openly purchase opium pods in this market, but nowhere else. The Berber people have a special dispensation to sell the stuff because they're ancient indigenous natives of Morocco who predate the Arabs. The Berbers live in their own cities, out in the deserts and mountains. Through their separate commerce and culture, the Berbers allow opium pods to be an open part of their society. So, of course, I must try some opium-laced tea at a market stall. I sprinkle the pods in the tea and let it steep a few minutes. It has a very bitter taste. The bitter taste grows on me as I yearn for another sip. What easy flowing motion. A beautiful head trip. Wow, I'm floating. My tea is gone. I order another cup. I feel myself floating, out of body like, as I'm walking back to the hotel. The air is pillowy soft. I see my body walking below me, but I'm really up here, high in the clouds. I'm experiencing two realities simultaneously. I see and experience myself walking through the hotel lobby and up to the roof, but I'm high up in the Atlas Mountains, floating through an unsurpassable serenity of perpetual ease at the root foundation of my being. Without warning, my being or soul snaps into the single reality of my physical being. I'm sitting in a lounge chair on the rooftop of the Hotel Essaouira. Have I been here all along? My heightened consciousness has fallen dormant. I lost my brief taste of cosmic awareness. The doors of perception have been opened. I want to be in that zone more often. I met two French guys in the hotel lobby today. I sold them some hash to get some extra money in my hands. The funds are low. I've got to make some moves. One of the Frenchmen gave me a packet of dark brown seeds, called it tasmine, and said I should share it in a tea with someone. I'm thinking these guys are all right. I just sold them some good hash. I have some spending money now, and they give me an extra gift in appreciation. Thanks, I say. Remembering my Berber market visit, I figure this tasman is more of the same thing. I find my favorite lounge chair on the rooftop of the Hotel Essaouira, sampling the tasman in my tea. It's a different kind of bitter than the opium-laced tea, but still bitter nonetheless. I drink the cup down and sit back in my chair relaxing. In a short time, a feeling of physical uneasiness overcomes me. I am stoned, but not in a good way. Something isn't right. I start having spinning wheel hallucination images. I don't want to be on the roof anymore. I stumble over people on the second floor balcony trying to find my way to my room. I finally locate my room, but my key doesn't work. It's not my room anymore. I forgot. When Hans and Oliver departed, I lost this room. I hooked up with 3 strangers, 2 guys and a girl, to split the room costs 4 ways. The new room is down the hall. The key works. I'm feeling desperation and nausea. I rush to the bathroom and vomit in the toilet, followed by bouts with diarrhea and a persistent splitting headache. Have I been poisoned? I'm down for the count, huddled in my sleeping bag on the floor of the room for several days thereafter. Lesson learned. Sometimes when you do something stupid, you continue to pay for it days on end. I've been sick for a week now. I go from my room to the roof and back, mostly stay in my room, never leaving the hotel. I believe I was poisoned with belladonna. I showed a few of the guys my remaining Tasman tea seeds, and they all agreed it is belladonna, a killer drug that turns people into zombies for days or weeks, and some never come back to normal or go half crazed. I'm lucky to be moving around and still have half my wits, but it's taken a lot out of me. I'm drained of energy, very lethargic, tired, but can't sleep very long, cold, then hot. I can't keep anything down when I try to eat. I'm dehydrated. My stomach goes into involuntary spasms. I drink some water trying to stay hydrated. Then I pee more liquid than I drink of the water, it seems. Then sweating hot and cold flashes, losing fluids, can't eat. It's been a living nightmare. But I can tell I've gotten over the worst part, and I'm gradually getting better. It's been a tough week. My head has been very heavy, on a sort of downer period, I suppose. I always desire to be active, doing things, having constructive experiences as I wander along on my journey. My metabolism is wired to work this way. This downturn has slowed me quite a bit. There are some interesting people here at the hotel, but it's still a relatively stagnant scene. I have a lot of mental distress to work through from my feelings of uneasiness and not being productive. I know I'm on the mend and can do something to rectify the situation. The actual city of Essaouira, for which this hotel is named, is a beacon for the hippies. I've heard this mentioned by many others in passing conversations. The city of Essaouira is calling me. Next day I check out of my room and head to the road to hitchhike. I meet up with one of the English girls, Eileen. You want to hitch together? I ask. Depends on where you're heading, she responds. Essaouira. Okay, that's where I'm heading too, she says. Great. In a short time, we snag a ride down the road for 20 kilometers. However, no luck hitching from there, so we walk to a bus stop and flag down a bus that takes us the rest of the way. Where do you live in England? Just outside of London, she says. Your other friends, Mary and Buffy, are they from there too? Yes, we're all from the same town and went to the same schools since we were kids. We always talked about going on a traveling adventure one day, and here it is. Here we are. We started in Amsterdam. Me too. That place is incredible. I stayed a little over a week, about 10 days, but I had to save my soul from the constant lure of debauchery. We only stayed a couple of days. Quite the night scene in that town for the hippie crowd, she says. As we roll down the countryside, it is very exotic and rustic, with camels dotting the landscape everywhere as we pass through quaint little towns, one after the other. I'm really enjoying the female companionship with my traveling mate Eileen. She is fun to talk to, with her cheerful nature, always smiling. She has huge breasts like melons. She's probably a tad overweight for her size, but she's juicy good to look at for me. My eyes and mind have been starved of womanhood. I am ready to let the good times roll. It's November 26, 1970. Thanksgiving back home in the USA. I'm here in Essaouira, Morocco, and I found my own personal Thanksgiving in the person of my new friend, Eileen. We've really hit it off and are smitten with each other. Having wild sex and making passionate love is on my agenda. She's sending all the proper signals that she's willing and interested. I'm going to stop being all gentlemanly and make a bold move. I love her English accent, her way of speaking, very sexy. Maybe I'm just an out-of-control, horny dude. All I know for sure is that my submerged sexuality needs a release. At the moment, we are at our hotel in different rooms. It seems as if I'm unwittingly attached as part of some small traveler's commune. I find myself in similar company with a little group I met in Marrakesh. There are 8 of us, 4 guys and 4 gals. There's Nancy from Seattle, the 3 girls from England, Mary, Buffy, and Eileen, Marshall from Montana, Rod from New England, and Phil from England, and me from Michigan, USA. I'm in a room with Marshall, Rod, and Nancy. The 4 English people are in another room. I think Phil has something going with Mary, and maybe Buffy too, but Rod and Buffy are real tight also. Marshall and Nancy are like 2 loners who keep to themselves. Then it's me and Eileen. I'm waiting for her to come to my room. My roommate's left and will be gone for a while. I hear a knock on the door. I open the door. Eileen greets me with, "Hello, won't I have some sex?" I quickly pull her to me and embrace her in a passionate kiss as I close the door all in one quick motion. Our tongues are intertwined in each other's mouths as we suck tongue and lips with great passion. We stay lip-locked while tearing away the clothes off each other. Boing! I'm erect enough to chop wood. The woman is driving me absolutely wild. Her boobs spill out of her bra into my waiting hands as I squeeze and fondle her voluptuousness. We are down to underwear and panties as we move over to my bed in the room. I slip off her panties and head straight for the bush. Smelling, kissing, caressing, licking her sweet loins is my sole endeavor. She moans with pleasure. She has an orgasm that seemingly shakes the walls of the room. I hope no one walks in on us. Then this assertive woman rolls over and jumps on top of me. She takes charge of the situation, humping and grinding on me with a reckless abandon. Baby, I'm yours. The sex is so intense and prolonged that I'm dripping in sweat. We are dripping in sweat. I'm on the verge to where I can take it any longer. I can't take it any longer. No. Wow. She rolls off me, falls beside me on the bed, both of us breathing heavy, absolutely exhausted. Next day, Eileen and I are at it again. The sex was so great yesterday that we need a repeat. Only this time we are in Eileen's room. Mary, Buffy, and Phil, Eileen's roomies, are out for the day, so we're going to have a repeat performance of our private sex party. I knock on the door to Eileen's room. She opens the door and quickly pulls me in by my collar. Eileen is totally naked. Her big bosoms press into my chest as our tongues lock in a French kiss. This woman is wild. She rips off my shirt and pulls my shorts down. Then she strokes my penis with her hand as she guides me to the bed. I am at her mercy. I lay back and settle into a comfortable position on Eileen's bed, fluff up the pillow under my head. Meanwhile, Eileen goes to work on me with such intensity that I find it a challenge to keep up with her rhythm. She is relentless. Her mouth and tongue create such sensations to where I'm totally transported to a state of ultimate bliss. Then bang, I explode all over like a hot boiling volcano. But we are only getting started. Eileen proceeds to crouch over my face to sit her genitals right on my face. I am drowning in her sweet, wet, juicy loveliness. My tongue and lips swim in her sea of love for what seems forever. Time is irrelevant. Eileen is lost inside her own sexuality as she throws her head back, closes her eyes, and rocks to the rhythm, sitting on my face. Suddenly, without warning, she has a bombshell orgasm that literally smothers me. I hold my breath as she convulses her loins, both thighs squeezing me in a headlock. Once again, wow. Now I've got a problem that I can't get rid of. Suddenly we are now boyfriend and girlfriend, and she wants to do everything with me. I can't escape her. I go to the beach, take a walk, hang out on the roof, get a bite to eat, even use the bathroom, and there she always is. I wanted the free-spirited love. I enjoyed it tremendously, but I don't want a relationship. I like to be free and easy and on my own. Eileen has different plans for us. I can see where this is going in her head. Now I've got to figure a way out of this predicament. I sneak away to the beach to gather my thoughts and come up with a new plan. I'm sure she will find me. I look out at the gray Atlantic Ocean with the sun occasionally peeking through the overcast skies. 2 cargo ships float out on the ocean's horizon. Moroccan children play in the sand on the beach, running in and out of the water at the shoreline. It is a surreal scene. There is a lot of mystery and magic in this unique white city by the sea. I came here because this old town of Essaouira was spoken of highly by my fellow travelers, and now I see why. There is something very engaging about this place. I enjoy being part of a loose group of travelers. The hotel is very damp and it smells like mildew does in a basement. This has not been good for my breathing. My asthma symptoms have been acting up and I've been wheezing a bit, needing to use my emergency inhaler a few times. I take a dip in the cold sea. It is salty, rough, and invigorating, with powerful waves that nearly knock me down as I walk back into shore. Tomorrow I'm moving into a house with my commune of fellow travelers. Buffy and Rod found the place, and all of us have agreed to do it. We will be renting one giant first-floor room of a house. 2 Moroccans live and work there. They live upstairs. It's basically a huge community room. Everyone has their own sleeping bags to sprawl out on the floor at nighttime. I'm looking forward to the new change. The Moroccans here are very friendly to the tourists. I feel or sense a special warmth coming from the people here in Essaouira. Maybe I'm just imagining this, but I don't think so. The Muslim month of Ramadan has ended. The 1 month without eating during sunlight hours. The food trip has been very difficult for me here. The one thing I have found that I truly like is the French pastries. These pastries cost twice as much as the Arabic pastries that mimic them, but they are more refined and well worth it for the taste. It costs 50 francs or half a dirham, which is basically 10 cents. The Moroccan pastries are only 6 cents, but what a difference. Some days that is all I end up eating is French pastries. In this odd country, the French have their own parallel life based on their one-time occupation and control of this land. While Morocco is no longer under France's control, many of the cities contain French areas of culture and habitation. I love the comfort of our social configuration. Our commune is moved into the big house along the sea now. My breathing issue is much better here. The house looks out onto a courtyard that is very psychedelic in nature, with very colorful tiles, colored glass windows, wind chimes, green plants, a uniquely Moroccan setup. Today I went with Eileen, Buffy, Mary, and Marshall on another fascinating walk through this wonderful white city by the Atlantic. Eileen and I cavort about holding hands like we are a steady couple. It seems absurd to me, but I go along to get along. We came across a tailor shop that is very strange in comparison to most of the native places and customs. Many pictures of Elvis Presley adorn the walls. There's a large poster-sized picture of Steve McQueen on a motorcycle from one of his movies. And most oddly, there's a full-length wall map of Louisiana. This is strange, but welcoming to American culture. Our little commune will be breaking up a bit. Rod from New Zealand is leaving us tomorrow, followed by Phil a couple days later. The transient nature of being a hippie on the hippie trail is the constant change and movement that takes place within the band of travelers one finds themselves with. I'm thinking about when I will be moving on myself. Nancy from Seattle has agreed to accompany me and travel across Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, Sicily, and finally Rome, Italy. I have been dreading taking this trip on my own. At least we can keep each other company as we move through these countries. I've got 2 hits of acid to share with Eileen on my last day in Essaouira. She doesn't know it yet, but I'm going to sneak away. But before I do, we're going to have one last great, good time together. Eileen and I meet up on the rocks in front of the city wall. We have just smoked some hashish together in a water pipe and shared some tea with the 2 Moroccans who work here and live on the 2nd floor. "How you doing, Eileen?" "I'm stone silly," she laughs. "I am too. Let's take it to a new level. I have a hit of LSD I can share with you." "Sure, bring it on," she says. I hand her the small green tablet. She sticks it in her mouth. I follow suit. "Leave it in your mouth on your tongue and let it dissolve. That's what I'm doing," I say. "Too late. I already swallowed it," she says. Let's enjoy the good times to come. We make out with each other along the shoreline. My head is floating in the clouds once again, but my hands are all over her body, feeling everything everywhere, the voluptuous curves of her body. We are like 2 animals in heat. We want to have sex right now, but we can't do it here out in the open. We can't go back to the house, no privacy. We walk from the beach into town. We are searching for a private place to experience our rapture. We find our way back to the Hotel Central, the place where we've made love before. But then we had our own rooms. I locate one of the janitor workers and beg him to let us use a room that is occupied by a fellow we know who is gone for the day. He refuses to help. I plead and beg and hand him some money. Finally, he relents and opens the door. Eileen and I are absolutely crazy with lust at this point. High from the hashish we smoked in the water pipe and starting to zoom into an hallucinatory phase from the acid. Everything is firing on all cylinders. In no time, our clothes are off and we are completely naked. This juicy, sumptuous woman has tickled my fancy once again. In my state of mind, I see myself as a great mythological character, and Eileen is my sex goddess. Our bodies become entangled in so many different sex positions. We hump and grind for a bit, then change to a new position and continue going at it and some more. Every few minutes, we change to a new position, then hump and grind some more. I holler out to Eileen, I am the God of love. I am Christ. She responds, that's funny, because I think you're the devil. The sex is absolutely fabulous. Our amazing sex encounter continues on for hours and hours. We literally screw ourselves senseless. We eventually leave the Hotel Central feeling great and satiated. My acid trip settles down into a mellow groove, but Eileen is starting to freak out, literally freaking out. It's evening now, and it's dark outside as we walk down to the beach. Steve, where are you? Where are you? I'm standing right next to you, I say. Where are you? Right here, I repeat, as I reach out and grab her arm to reassure her. She pulls away from me and walks into the ocean, still calling for me. I walk out in the water, trailing her, afraid she might drown herself. I need to watch over her as she may be a danger to herself. Eileen is now up to her waist level, and I'm starting to freak. There's nothing but bullshit melodrama in this situation, and I feel trapped by her crap. Damn it. Come back, Eileen. You don't want to be out here. This is dangerous. She is crying uncontrollably now. I'm at a loss of what to do. I tug on her arm to come back to shore with me, but she won't budge. She's just standing here in waist-deep water, crying. Then she suddenly falls back into the water and goes under. I dive in after her, but she is kicking and punching, fighting me off. Holy shit, she may try to kill herself. I dive back in and wrestle her out of the water. We both gasp for air, breathing heavy. She stops fighting with me finally and allows me to lead her to shore. Still crying and near hysterics, I walk her to the communal home and tuck her in her sleeping bag. She reverts to acting like a baby girl as she talks in baby language to me like I'm her daddy, tucking her in for the night. My plans are set now. I'm leaving in the early morning before anybody wakes up. I've got to escape from Eileen.